This is 7 News, the voice of the New England.
Tonight, the sun shines with near-perfect conditions for Melbourne Cup Day celebrations.
Plans take shape for a new crisis refuge for women and children in Tamworth.
I'm Daniel Gibson. Later on this news hour, interest rates up 0.25%, but will there be another hike before Christmas? And 2 men arrested over the deadly crash that killed 2 young boys.
7 News begins now.
Good evening. From Flemington all the way to the New England, clubs across the country have welcomed thousands of punters for the Melbourne Cup Carnival.
The Tamworth Jockey Club played host as locals soaked up the champagne and sunshine for a splendid day of racing. Sport reporter Max Gent is there for us tonight. And Max, did you pick a winner, mate?
Nick, I wasn't so lucky, but there were plenty of winners throughout the day here at the Tamworth Jockey Club. The biggest of all appears to be the club itself, bouncing back this year after wet weather put a dampener on celebrations in 2022.
Everyone was celebrating something on Cup Day. It could be a milestone.
Hello. Happy birthday!
It might be a winning horse. But some chose to celebrate their other half.
I barely do my buttons up, that's my wife, so all credit to her.
Punters started pouring through the gates at 11:30 before the first race, just before lunch. Hundreds dressed to the nines for the club's biggest race day of the year.
So this sets us up for the rest of the year. This is our main money spinner for the year. Just with bar sales and functions, it really helps.
Last year, it was a completely different picture. The club hosting a phantom meet due to wet weather, meaning no racing and less people.
There's hundreds and hundreds of people here. There's a fantastic crowd here today, and it's just great for our community to be able to come and celebrate Melbourne Cup Day here at their own jockey club.
One of the ways race fans celebrate is always fashions on the field. Unique hats, stunning dresses, crisp suits, all critiqued by the watchful eye of the judges.
Yeah, I think that's the fun in it. I think lots of women get out here not just for the races, but actually for the fashion and getting dressed up and feel-good moment.
Paul Holmes took out the best dressed for the men. He took a minute to celebrate before going on to spend the day with family and friends.
Seeing some faces you haven't seen around before, obviously being a small town, having that community around us, it's awesome, yeah. Seeing some new faces, catching up with old friends, making new ones.
Whether they picked a winner or not, everyone walked away happy after a successful day at the Jockey Club. Max Gent, 7 News.
Interest rates have hit a 12-year high, with the Reserve Bank locking in another rate rise today. Mortgage holders left wondering where they'll find the extra money to cover their ever-growing loan repayments.
Owning a house was once the Australian dream. Now it's quickly turning into a nightmare, with mortgage holders stung by another interest rate rise.
People start realising what it'll impact their bottom line, for particularly those already in mortgage stress. Retirees will probably benefit with more income in their back pocket, but mortgage holders will definitely feel the pinch leading up to Christmas.
Today, the cash rate rose by a further 25 basis points to 4.35%, marking the 13th rate rise since May 2022. Members of the public hoping it will be the last for a long time.
Well, I think we're at a point now, it's at a tipping point. I think that this should be the last one. To go further would be a real issue for mortgage holders.
A tough move to make, according to Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers, but he remains confident that his government strategies will lower inflation.
The highest priority of the Albanese Labor government is rolling out this cost of living relief, which the ABS says is working.
The rise now adds an extra $15 repayment for every $100,000 owed on a variable rate home loan, making the budget even tighter for those battling through the cost of living crisis.
My son and daughter-in-law have quite a substantial mortgage, and it has quite an impact on their day-to-day living expenses.
The RBA's decision won't only affect mortgage holders and pensioners, with services such as Lifeline experiencing surges in demand when the cash rate is lifted.
We're already seeing an increase in demand for our services, and we are receiving an increase in calls for people who are experiencing financial stress.
Hugh Pearson, 7 News.
Cancer patients are still making the long drive to Newcastle or Sydney to receive a diagnosis. The Labor government made a promise in April to deliver a PET scanner by the end of the year, but there's still no sign of it.
Gary Norman knows the challenges of regional healthcare. Diagnosed with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma last year. He spent hours driving to and from Newcastle to have scans.
It was extremely uncomfortable. My daughter was crying just about all the way down. And then after going through the scan itself, you're feeling pretty rough. And then you're driving back in the car, you're hot, you're cold, you feel like throwing up.
New South Wales Health Minister Brian Park promised a $2 million PET scanner for Tamworth Hospital to be delivered by November this year. Tamworth MP Kevin Anderson is calling on Labor to fulfil that promise.
There have been a number of projects that they have reneged on, which is disappointing. But when it comes to health, I don't want our community compromised, or I don't want our community being played as second fiddle.
Mr Norman feels for those waiting to be diagnosed. He says the travel time could be a deterrent for many.
We need a PET scan in Tamworth so badly, because the sooner you have it diagnosed, the sooner you have your treatment.
The time between a scan and diagnosis and then treatment is dictated by accessibility.
If I had to wait 1 or 2 months more, who knows what the outcome out. I mightn't be here.
The Health Minister returned fire at the Tamworth MP, saying in a statement, unlike the coalition government, Labor will deliver. Hunter New England Health has confirmed to 7 News the PET scanner will be installed in early 2024.
When a Health Minister promises something, he should stick by that promise.
Olivia Babb, 7 News.
Plans for crisis accommodation for women and children in Tamworth have taken another step forward. While the project has been welcomed, the government admits more needs to be done to prevent domestic violence.
It's a stigma that society is trying to break. Domestic and family violence has increased in regional New South Wales by 30% in just 12 months.
Some of our communities are so small, so it's very hard that people disclose.
There are substantial barriers for those living in regional areas.
If you're a mum that's, trying to be, to keep your family safe, how do you do so when you don't have access to a car?
An emergency accommodation hub called Core and Cluster is in the development application stage. The $7 million in state government funding was first announced in late 2021. New South Wales Minister for Women, Jodie Harrison, says the delay was necessary.
It's important to spend time actually working with people who are going to be providing the services and to actually be speaking to people who are going to be using the services.
The 8-unit refuge has been designed with an Indigenous healing room and even pet-friendly. The partnership between Housing Plus and Tamworth Family Support Services have pushed the project. However, there's a long way to go and more funding is needed to build these services. Programs and education is needed for offenders to seek help.
I would absolutely like to see is a greater focus on early intervention prevention.
We need to do more, and that's what this government's committed to doing.
Minister Harrison says a system that believes victims is crucial.
I think it's really important that whenever we hear somebody say that they have been a victim of domestic and family violence or of sexual violence, that our first reaction is to believe them.
The refuge is expected to be finished in late 2024. Olivia Babb, 7 News.
And if you or anyone you know needs support, you can contact 1800 RESPECT. That's 1800 737 732.
Barradine has become the latest town to be placed under new water restrictions. Level 1 water restrictions have been introduced for the community. The Warrumbungle Shire Council says it's in response to the dry conditions and increased demand placed on the town's water treatment plant. The rules limit when watering systems can be used. Residents are also only permitted to wash cars with a bucket and rinse off by a trigger hose while it's on the lawn.
As the dust begins to settle on the Tenterfield fires, farmers are desperately searching for fodder. The Lions Club's Need for Feed program arrived in the region yesterday evening, delivering truckloads of hay sourced from across the country. Temporary reinforcements is much needed for farmers, as 67,000 hectares have been burnt so far.
Down the front there, we've got a B-double of hay that we've brought in from South Australia. We're staying here tonight. All staying here tonight at the showgrounds. Lions Club's going to take us out for feed. No doubt a couple of drinks.
RFS crews are in a battle to extinguish the blazes before temperatures rise on Thursday. Now, staying on all things weather-related, it's time now to check in with Kirsty. And Kirsty, it was quite a warm day out there today, fairly humid too.
That's right, Maddie and Nick. Good evening to you both and hello everyone. Some patchy cloud for the New England and the northwest today. Temperatures in the low 30s across the west once again and the low 20s for those of us in the east. As Maddie said, it was humid at times. That was mainly this morning with some cloud building into the late morning. Tamworth today, a maximum of 29 degrees, mostly light winds. They were chopping and changing direction throughout the course of the day. In Glen Innes, we had that top of 22 following 9 overnight. Now, we did start to see some storm activity move through late this afternoon. That is expected to continue overnight and into tomorrow. We're expecting cloud cover for the middle of our working week, some wet weather picking up over the next 24 to 48 hours as well. I'll have a look at that forecast a little later on in the bulletin.
Sounds good. Thanks, Kirsty.
Still to come in 7 News, harvest begins early for the summer cherry season.
And the countdown to Capers, tiny performers polish their musical moves.
And a little later on this news hour, 2 men arrested 24 hours after a deadly crash that killed 2 young boys. Plus, Australia's relationship with China seems to be on the mend after years of trade bans and open hostility. And 1 month on, there's still no hope of a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas.
Welcome back. Addiction counsellors are warning events like Melbourne Cup can be quite harmful. The average Australian spent around $88 on gambling today and around $221 million nationwide. Mental Health Services Centre Care says the second most common gambling addiction in the New England Northwest, behind the pokies, is horse and greyhound racing.
Because it's so socialised, Melbourne Cup Day, it can create that opportunity for people who are addicted to gambling to enable them to gamble perhaps more than they might normally.
Counsellors say the ease of online betting can lure first-time bettors into getting hooked too.
Cherry season has started early this year, tracking 2 weeks ahead of schedule because of unseasonably hot weather. One Pick Your Own orchard already receiving visitors, and they say climate change could be to blame.
This bunch of dark red cherries is sweet and ready to eat. But after a season starting 2 weeks late last year, this time around it's a whole month earlier.
Unstable weather and the more conditions that we have that you can't class as normal, that it's very variable. I believe it all has something to do with climate change.
For Orange's Hillside Harvest, a difference in topography has given them an early start.
Hillside, compared to a lot of the cherry orchards in Orange, is just a little bit lower in elevation than, say, orchards at Nashdale or at the Pinnacle on the Canobolas. So therefore we have our cherry, we've got early varieties of cherries and then they ripen just that little bit before probably the rest of the districts.
And they're already a hit with the kids.
Why I like cherries so much because I like picking them and eating them, and I eat them all week.
And they get really excited about it. They stuff their mouths with cherries and stuff their buckets, and in fact one of them was so excited he stuffed his pockets with cherries.
With visitors already filling their buckets to the brim, Hillside Harvest is expecting a busy season.
The numbers are starting to build, and from here on in, for the weeks to come, there'll be hundreds and hundreds of people come to visit Orange and surrounds for cherry picking.
They're delicious. They're so sweet and juicy. They're fabulous. You know, I love cherries, and this year doesn't disappoint.
The season is expected to wrap up around Christmas to early January. Charlotte Wallen, 7 News.
The Regional Arts Spectacular has taken the Northwest by storm, a showcase of music and dance. Local students are taking advantage of the annual event, showing off their talents for the first time.
From kindergarten to year 12, students are embracing dance and song. For budding artist Matt Barrett and Ella Murray, it's their first time singing at Capers.
We sort of grew up just jamming around the house, and then I did audition for Capers this year and got in, so this is like my first official performance thing.
Matt has witnessed his singing career lift off in the past few years, playing gigs at weddings and local pubs. He's hoping this experience will take him to the next level.
It's a great way to get kids into the arts. It's in regional spaces, there's really not
a whole lot compared to things like Sydney or Newcastle or Melbourne.
For many students, the regional spectacular is a chance of a lifetime.
You know, it's like once or twice in a lifetime. It's really, really fun, and it's a stepping stone to, if you want to do something further in your musical career, it's a good place to start.
It's not just the older kids who have big dreams. Hillview's grade 1s are in their element.
Singers. I want to be a singer. I like all of the dance moves instead. And I like all of the people doing that.
Capers provides opportunities for regional children to get engaged with dancing and singing, but it doesn't come without hard work.
It's all the time. Right now we're eating, breathing, sleeping capers. We are here from 8 till 5, but, you know, rehearsal times extend to probably 9 o'clock at night.
Olivia Babb, 7 News.
Well, still to come in 7 News, Lake Keepert's Splash Park closes indefinitely.
And local runners in the hunt for prize money in Cup Day racing at Tamworth.
Tomorrow on Sunrise, Australia's springback suburbs, where it's up to 17% cheaper to buy now than 12 months ago.
Plus, a walk a day to keep the doctor away. The new research revealing how many daily steps you need to live longer.
See you in the morning.
Welcome back. The racing action wasn't just happening at Flemington. Local trainers and jockeys were searching for a big win in Tamworth. One local couple were preparing for a big day, taking their horse from home to the big stage.
The heat wasn't an issue at the Tamworth Jockey Club, the crisp track surface getting local riders excited.
They just had to walk the track there, went down the furlong there, and it's pretty, they must put some water on it overnight, which they took the sting out of it.
It is pretty warm, so the horses will definitely need a good shower after they race and a good drink, but it's going to be a wonderful day.
For one trainer-jockey partnership, it stretches deeper than just business. Trainer Cassandra Stummer and her partner Daniel Northey have been dating for the past 11 years, working together with their horse Paleface Blondie in the day's opening race.
It's just one of the things, you know. We're both into horses, we know horses from inside out, so which probably helps us, you know. We both ride.
It's good in a way and bad in others, but just like any working relationship with your partner. But no, we have a pretty good system going now.
Northey is back on the saddle after a hip replacement last year. He had 14 months off before getting on the horse last May. Since then, he's been slowly regaining form with 3 wins this season.
I've only been back a few months now riding, so I said starting to pick up now, race riders and that kind of stuff. It's pretty much a big role, you know, this is my job, you know, riding horses for a living and that kind of stuff, and same as my partner, training them.
It was a big afternoon for the pair. Stummer had Panique running in the same race and Northey was riding another 2 horses. But Paleface Blondie couldn't deliver a good day for the couple, running last as Arafura C stormed home to win. Rex Quayle, 7 News.
Paul King will return as president of Central North Rugby Union after the zone failed to find a replacement. King was looking to take a step back from the role at the end of this year, but he reconsidered as the club struggled to fill a number of key positions. Central North is encouraging anyone to sign up and become a volunteer. The Splash Water Park at Lake Keepert has shut its doors indefinitely, just weeks out from the start of the summer holidays. The company took to social media blaming irrigation issues for the decision. The owners of the water park are still hopeful that it will reopen one day, but admit the future is pretty uncertain. After more than 20 years, the Shimoda family will no longer organise the annual National Rugby Camp in Armidale. Instead, they'll hand the reins over to New South Wales Rugby Union.
Yeah, it's their turn to run with the ball, so it was a nice offload, I think, from us, and great synergy for New South Wales Rugby, who's been such a big supporter of the camp for so many years, so it was quite easy for them to take it on.
The 3-day camp will kick off on the 14th of January with a number of special guests already lined up. Still to come in 7 News, Kirsty is back and she's got your local weather forecast. That's next.
Welcome back, everyone. A low-pressure trough is developing over parts of the state, causing showers and thunderstorms. Meanwhile, conditions are feeling humid for many. This trough will deepen into Thursday and will cause showers to increase for the eastern half of New South Wales, as well as heighten the risk of severe thunderstorms and force heat to build. Some parts of our state could see temperatures as much as 10 degrees above average as we head into the weekend. At this stage, we could see between 20 and 35 millimetres over the coming week, week. However, there could be areas of isolated heavier rainfall embedded within thunderstorms for the north. Let's take a look now to our midweek forecast, and we'll see warm temperatures persisting in the mid to high 20s, but with those showers and thunderstorms likely during the day. Again, we're expecting more humid weather in the morning ahead of those showers arriving throughout the mid-afternoon. Across the New England and northwest, we could see around about 3 millimetres with gusty northeasterly winds. Into Thursday morning, some sunshine, about 30 degrees on the way for Moree, 31 for Narrabri, before that wet weather picks back up as we head into Thursday afternoon. Tamworth could see about 7 millimetres of rain, while Armidale could pick up to 8 millimetres. That is alongside some afternoon and evening storms and more gusty winds up to 35 kilometres an hour in the morning. Remaining warm though, Murrurundi and Scone, both tops in the low 30s. On Friday, we will see those temperatures increasing slightly once again. Gunnedah 32, I should say, and Walgett 35 degrees. Certainly a degree or two above what we normally see during November. Partly cloudy, but that chance of showers increasing during the day, particularly in the east, where we could see between 2 and 15 millimetres of rain. Winds shifting southeasterly. The Barrington top 17 degrees and Inverell a top of 27. If we look ahead though, those temperatures are only forecast to increase through Saturday and Sunday. 34 degrees and clear skies ahead of that top of 36 on Sunday. Certainly looking forward to that rainfall across the region, but with thunderstorms around, we do need to be vigilant with that chance of thunderstorms sparking blazes as well.
Yeah, we certainly do. Some rainfall will be good though.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Thanks, Kirsty.
And that's all we have time for tonight. Thanks for watching. You can catch up on our website or, of course, at 7plus.
Right now, Dan's got your national news. Enjoy your night. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock.